see powerful voices trying to silence truth and punish dissent, and yes, weaponize justice for political gain. We are witnessing the fraying of our democracy, the erosion of our system of government, and I will not bow, I will not break, I will not bend, I will not capitulate, I will not give in, I will not give up.
A few moments later.
This is not a one-off mistake.
Yeah.
This is one right after the other, right after the other.
So you're saying she knew what she was doing and was doing it on repeat. That's
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Let's just call it what it is. The same people who scream about saving democracy and preserving our institutions are the ones actively tearing them apart. They are not even hiding it anymore. Powerful voices on the left, whether it's politicians, prosecutors, or their allies in the media, they have been weaponizing the justice system to silence their opponents and punish dissent. And now that the tables have turned, now suddenly it's a crisis. Now we're supposed to worry about justice being abused, but when Trump was the target, silence, celebration, high fives in the MSNBC green room. And that's what makes this Letitia James situation so rich with irony, because this ain't a one-time mistake. This is calculated, repeated, and now finally exposed for what really is. Political fraud cloaked in self-righteousness. Check it out.
Joining us now, forensic accountant Sam Mantar, the man who uncovered this all at the very beginning. You broke this open. It has gone all the way to the top, to the DOJ. Letitia James has now been indicted again, Sam. As I said, I'm not celebrating this. Like, oh, yeah, great, they got her. That's not what this is about. This is about someone doing something allegedly wrong and getting caught, so walk us through it.
I'll walk you through it. First of all, she owns 3 properties, one on Peroni Avenue in Virginia, one on Sterling Drive in Virginia, and one in Brooklyn. This indictment covers the property on Peroni Avenue. The way, first of all, I'm not part of this tit for tat with Trump or anything like that.
Nope.
I was at the time I was retired, taking my time, looking through financial puzzles, and I was looking at the financial reporting of Letitia James to New York State, her personal financial disclosures. What I found was she bought that property on Peroni Avenue, the one she was indicted for, in 2020. In 2021, she showed no mortgage. 2022, she showed no mortgage. In 2023, all of a sudden, 2 mortgages pop up that exceed the value of the property by about 200%. That led to a red flag, so I went back, as any forensic accountant does, and I ordered the title report, and all of a sudden, I find that she bought the property with a mortgage that was never disclosed, and the 2 mortgages that were disclosed to New York State were not in the property records, unrecorded mortgages. Now, this property here, she got caught because the mortgage clause said that she was going to buy it as a second home. She put it on her tax return that she was going to be there 0 days a year. She also put it on a Schedule E, which is on a tax return, that she was earning income from it. Fine. Okay, but the problem is she never told the bank it was going to be an investment property, and she reaped benefits from it.
Couldn't be a rental based on the mortgage rate that they gave her,
right.
Correct?
Now, the other interesting thing, which I said on the air.
Before he continues, let me just put this out there. Letitia James didn't just happen to go after Trump. She made him her campaign centerpiece, and she promised to prosecute him before she was even elected. Not because of evidence, not because of criminal wrongdoing, but because it got her votes, it got her attention, and it elevated her career. And she wasn't pursuing justice. She was chasing popularity, aka clout. And that's exactly what the media rewarded. But now the same media that cheered every legal jab at Trump is suddenly clutching their pearls because Letitia James is under federal indictment. And it's not just political noise. These are real charges brought by a grand jury based on real evidence, bank fraud, false statements to financial institutions, and that's serious time. And here's the breakdown of what she did, and pay close attention, because as you hear, he says it, but if you really look at it, because this is the part they're trying to gloss over. They're trying to gloss over this part. She owns 3 properties, 2 in Virginia, 1 in Brooklyn. One of those on Perrin Avenue is at the center of this first indictment. Back in 2020, she bought the property. No problem so far. But then something weird happened because in 2021 and 2022, on her personal financial disclosures to the state of New York, she claimed she had no mortgage. Zilch. But in 2023, boom, two mortgages appear out of nowhere, and together they're worth more than double what the home is actually valued at. So you're telling me for 2 years there was nothing, and then all of a sudden she's underwater on two mystery loans? Nah, that doesn't just happen. That's a red flag screaming from the roof. And then enters Sam Antar, who you guys see right now on the screen, the forensic accountant who found this mess. This guy wasn't on anyone's payroll. He wasn't playing politics, as you heard. He was just reviewing public records and financial disclosures, like any good accountant would. And what he found was alarming because, first off, Letitia James never disclosed the mortgage she did take out when she bought the property. That's illegal. Second, the two mortgages she finally reported to New York State, they didn't even appear in official property records. In other words, she reported loans that aren't backed by anything. It's like she was just writing numbers down and hoping nobody would double check, except someone did. And it gets worse because when she brought that home, she signed the mortgage clause saying it was going to be a second home, not a rental. Well, let's continue.
Earlier is she showed income on her financial disclosures in 2020 when she bought the property. She didn't show the property mortgage. But 2021 and 22, 23 and 24, she didn't show any income on that property. So was she underreporting to New York State? I don't know. It's something that I said on the air. The Fed's got to look at it.
And clearly they have, and clearly they've decided it was appropriate to bring an indictment down in a grand jury. They're doing their thing. Yeah, go ahead.
But this is only one of more to come.
That's right. Because all right, that was where I was going to lead this to, because there are other properties. And I know the property in Brooklyn, the way she listed it with a certain amount of rooms in there.
No, certain amount of units.
Units, okay.
She said it was 4 units. She said, well, I've always used this 4 units, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
it's
bleep that one out.
It's supposed to be, it's 5 units according to the certificate of occupancy. No owner of a property can determine their own occupancy. They have to get permission from the Department of Buildings to change the certificate of occupancy. Certificate of occupancy said 5. She should have applied as commercial loans at higher rates. She should have applied for commercial insurance at higher costs, but she didn't. She treated it as a 4-unit or less property.
Do you think, well, let's focus in on the property in Virginia where the indictment has come down. Would you consider that to be pretty much a slam dunk? I've heard other people talking about it that, you know, the way it's laid out, I mean, she did this and that's that.
It's as plain as day. But
this isn't a complicated case, I guess.
No, it isn't a complicated case, but everybody's looking at that one property. There's 2 other properties that she committed mortgage fraud on, and every single mortgage document that she signed going back 42 years with her signature on it had falsified information, was false.
So you're saying all 3 properties, all mortgage fraud across the board?
Yes, this is not a one-off. I'm sorry, this is not a one-off mistake.
Yeah.
This is one right after the other,
pattern.
right after the other.
So you're saying she knew what she was doing and was doing it on repeat. That's
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Exactly, because when she bought the home, and I'm talking about the second home, she signed a mortgage clause saying it was going to be a second home, not a rental. So that gave her access to better rates and terms. But on her tax return, she says she lived there 0 days a year. And on the Schedule E form that he talked about, she claimed rental income from it. So now if you pause right there, that's fraud. She told the bank one thing, told the IRS another, and hoped no one would notice. But a forensic accountant did. Sam, who you just seen talk on the screen. And now the feds have. That's why she's facing criminal charges. You don't just accidentally lie on mortgage agreement in multiple tax forms. And that's not a paperwork error. That's intentional deception to profit from more favorable terms and dodge scrutiny. But if you thought that was bad, wait till you hear about her Brooklyn property. All right? Her Brooklyn property on paper, she said it was a 4-unit building, like Sam said, the forensic accountant we just heard. You know why that matters? Because anything above 4 units is considered commercial property, which means higher mortgage rates. commercial insurance, and more taxes. But according to the certificate of occupancy, the official legal document says it's a 5-unit building. And no, you can't just decide how many units your building has. That's not how real estate works. You have to apply through the Department of Buildings to change that status. Like he said, she didn't. So again, she lied. And by doing so, she saved money. She gamed the system on purpose, and that's not incompetence, that's fraud again. Now, here's where the real hypocrisy kicks in. While all this was going on, while she was falsifying records, misleading banks, and reaping financial benefits, she was leading the charge against Trump for, guess what? Bank fraud and false statements. You can't make this up, right? The exact crimes she's now accused of are the ones she claimed gave her the moral authority to take Trump to court. And people wonder why trust in the system is dead. Because the very people who scream about accountability are the ones getting away with the worst crimes until now. And look, it's mind-blowing, right?
What I think, if Democrats like Slotkin are going to come out today and whine about selective prosecutions over Tish James, her entire career is built on the selective prosecution of one man. True. She gets to go to court just like Comey, just like anyone else. But to me, it's just not going to fly to boo-hoo over selective prosecutions on this particular person who promised in her campaigns, who went after him on things, as Jonah said, that had no business ever happening, if not but for the man's last name being Trump.
And there you have it. I got to agree with Scott Jennings. Look, you can't throw stones when you have a glass house, right? So I got to agree with Scott Jennings. He said it perfectly. And now, even Michael Cohen, who hates Trump, can see through the noise. Even he admitted that this case is not a political stunt. It's legitimate. He said the documents will speak for themselves. As always, I am a big advocate for innocent until proven guilty. Let it play out in court. I know a lot of people like to convict people in a court of public opinion before the truth actually comes out. But check out what Michael had to say.
Back in Trump's retribution tour is his former national security advisor, John Bolton. MSNBC is reporting that a complaint or indictment against him could come as early as this week, according to two people familiar with the case. Bolton is just the very latest target for Trump. That list now includes New York Attorney General Letitia James, who was indicted Thursday by a federal grand jury in Virginia. She's being charged with one count of bank fraud and one count of making false statements to a financial institution. Her indictment came one day after former FBI Director James Comey's arraignment, where he pled not guilty. Joining us now is Michael Cohen, host of the Mea Culpa podcast and author of the top-rated Substack, The Real Michael Cohen. Most people don't know this, but we have it in our contract with you. Every time you get it right, we invite you back on the show, and that's why we're here.
I think I may blow it today, so that way I can have my Sunday
actually, I'm going to start this segment by not asking you to predict who is next, but ask you to tell us, how do we break this cycle of retribution that we now find ourselves in, where the president is going after people that you've identified, people who we all know, and it's now just seems like a firing line of his enemies, and he's going down the list one by one. What do you think it takes in this moment to stop what is happening?
Well, he said the documents speak for themselves, right? And that the Department of Justice won't bring this forward unless they have receipts. And honestly, he's right. Let's continue.
I don't think you can stop it. The car is out of the garage, so to speak, and it is going full speed down the highway. He will stop when the list stops. And I don't believe there will ever be a stop to that list, because every day somebody says something that irks him, and every single day he thinks about what the next person is going to say. And he has the full power of government on his side. So is this retribution tour, or this political revenge tour, as my Democratic colleagues like to call it, is this the end, these four right now? The answer is no. Not even close.
Does he want to see them behind bars? And that's going to make him feel better about what he feels he was under attack for and how he believes he was mistreated? Is it that he simply doesn't actually care what the outcome is, but knowing that they're going to have to lawyer up, they're going to lose money in the process, they're going to feel like they're under the microscope, that they're just going to get a taste of what he experienced, that's enough for him? Or is it also about sending a signal to people who work for him right now that this is, if you step out of line, this is what I will do to you?
Or everything that you said from A to Z, all of the above. He does want to see accountability. There's no doubt about that. Do I believe, for example, that Tish James will be held accountable? Absolutely. I said it on your show last time. Do I think James Comey will be held accountable? Absolutely. You know, and I know everybody attacks Lindsay Halligan. Oh, she's a former beauty queen and she doesn't have prosecutorial experience. It doesn't matter. She has the power of government. You see, remember something.
But she doesn't even seem to have the backing of career prosecutors who are still working alongside her. Is it not a little concerning to you that they don't want to appear with her, put their names next to this stuff?
Not in the slightest. The documents will speak for themselves, and I'm certain that they have the documents that they need. I said it on a different show, in a different program, that I believe a first-year law student can actually take these cases to full trial and be successful. Just think about Tish James for a second. When you guys had asked me why I believe Tish James is next and why I believe she'll be held accountable. She's the chief law enforcement agent here in the state of New York. And what did she do? She went after Trump for what? For misstatements to a bank and banking fraud. Well, isn't that exactly what they're charging her now with? The same exact case?
Not really.
Isn't it exactly the same
facts?
I'm sorry?
She had evidence. In fact, I mean, there's a whole case, right?
Also,
she won for a reason.
And they will have a case against her.
You got a point. See, they don't want to MSNBC, they don't want to hear the reality of that. And this case isn't about Republican revenge. It's about the system finally turning its eye towards someone who thought she was above it. And the moment it did, the entire media apparatus turned into a therapy session. They're calling it a retribution tour, as if Trump's just going down a list and hunting people for sport. Please, this isn't revenge. This is the consequences of playing dirty in public office. And Letitia James played a dangerous game, and she turned the justice system into a political weapon. She used her position not to uphold the law, but to settle scores and build her career. And now she's facing the same system. She doesn't like how it feels. Well, tough. She had no problem dragging other people through court, and now she gets to sit in that defendant's chair and explain herself. And just like she said about Trump, if you did nothing wrong, you got nothing to hide, right? Well, let's see it. Let's see how she defends multiple instances of lying on mortgage documents, tax forms, and financial disclosures. Let's see her explain why she thinks the law applies to everyone but her.
Once Lindsay Halligan brings it to a trial. That's the point I'm trying to make. Again, Republicans are screaming, yay, go Trump accountability. Democrats, of course, we're all screaming, oh, this is political retribution. This is a political revenge tour. I understand that. But this is exactly, she opened up a Pandora's box, if you think about it, about bringing cases against people for business fraud and for banking fraud.
$500 million of overinflated.
It's not about the amount. Remember,
well, of course it is. The severity of the crime is different. But that's the law.
That's the sentence that would be the subject. The crime is the crime. So, for example, if you go in and you rob a bank and you walk out with $10,000 or you walk out with $1 million, it's still a crime.
No,
right?
But the details is the intent of Donald Trump to defraud banks in order by inflating his properties to get loans and all that stuff in the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars is a scheme. She may have misidentified a checkbox on an application when she was applying for her second mortgage that was supposed to be a rental property versus a primary residence. Not exactly the same thing.
Michael Cohen has a point, because the difference in amount might change the sentence, but not the crime. The law is the law. But here comes the spin machine, because they're just saying, oh, she just checked the wrong box on the application. Oh, really? So check the wrong box for 42 years across multiple homes. Come on, let's stop pretending This is about a form mistake. It's about fraud, plain and simple. Okay. And at the end of the day, if someone robs a bank and steals 10K and someone else robs a bank and steals 1 million, they're both bank robbers, right? And no, look at it like this. When she's found guilty, if she's guilty, you already know what's coming. The excuses, the blame shifting, that Trump is using the Department of Justice for a revenge narrative. They'll cry on TV, say the system is broken, saying she's being unfairly targeted. And this is what happens, right? When you open Pandora's box, when you start going after people for business and bank fraud, not because of justice, but because of politics, you better make sure your own house is clean, right? And Letitia James went after Trump for financial misstatements. She said no one is above the law. Cool, I agree. So now that she's the only one caught lying to banks, let's see if she believes her own slogan. Because look, it's just the hypocrisy is insane. And the way they're playing mental gymnastics and Michael Cohen is saying the truth, they don't want to hear the truth. That's why they keep trying to play the blame game and move the goalposts to reasons why, to excuse why Letitia James did what she did. But at the end of the day, the law is the law, plain and simple. And no matter how you move the goalposts, you can't move the law. You can't move the law and redefine it and remix it to your definition. The law is the law for a reason.
It is, because ultimately what they will have to show is that she knew that this was a rental property. Again, the devil will be in the details, and I believe that they have the information on the details.
I have to ask you a question that our viewers have asked us in the past when you've come on the show, and they've been waiting to see how your predictions turn out. Why should they trust you when you had a long-time friendship? And sometimes it sounds like you're on Trump's side in all of this.
So I get that a lot, where people say, oh, are you bending the knee? Are you on his payroll? The answer is no. But a fact is a fact. And I want people to understand that if you want to hear what it is that comports with your opinion, I'm definitely not the guy to go to. I'm going to give it to you the way that I see it, the way that I know. You see, how was I able to predict the three? It's because I know Trump and I understand the strategy. I understand his playbook. And I understand that he's not going to have, whether it's Lindsey Halligan or the top career prosecutor there, unless they have the document to prove the truth of the matter that's asserted.
Okay.
There you have it. She didn't want to hear that, even though she threw a little insult in there talking about, it seems like you're on Trump's side. Look, if Letitia James was willing to throw Trump under the bus for allegedly doing it, she should be ready to face the same fate now that her own dirty laundry is out in the open. Because justice, if it's real, shouldn't care who you voted for. And if it does, it's not justice, it's politics. And American people are sick of it. But I love you guys. I appreciate you for rocking with me. Give this video a big thumbs up. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.